Hello, second graders. Hey, it's time for a math lesson. We're in Unit 9 now, and the first 2 or 3 lessons in Unit 9 deal with measuring using the metric measurement system, centimeters. Remember we talked about the little numbers, the lots of numbers on this ruler? Those are all centimeters on the top there. It's a measurement used in the metric system. Now, lesson 9.1 starts on page 603. So get your books. You want to go to page 603 in your workbooks. And what you see on page 603 are some lines on the page. And what it's asking you to do is to use a unit measurement. Remember what unit measurement is? A unit measurement is just a reference because it's equal on all sides and it's just a reference tool that you can use. So if I had a line, and let's just say for example I had 2 of these unit blocks together, and my line that I'm measuring looks like I need another one. So this line would be equal to about 3 units. It's just a reference of measurement. Now the units that we're going to concern ourselves with as we get into this lesson is centimeters. Centimeters are a measure of metric that if we used it in this country instead of inches and feet, it'd be a lot easier because it's really simple to understand because it's all in multiples of 10. And we can do that in our head. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. 10 plus 10 is 100, or 20. 10 times 10 is 100. It just makes math real easy. But we still use the inches here. On 603, you're just going to measure those. Now, if you don't have any of those little cubes at home, those manipulatives that we use in the classroom, then take some pennies and line some pennies up. And the first drawing, I'm going to guess, would probably be about 4 pennies long. So you can measure with anything as long as somebody understands what the relationship is. So if you tell somebody, oh, that line's 4 pennies long, and they know how big a penny is, well, then they know in their mind how long that line is. So whenever you have to use a block measurement, just use pennies or dimes, whichever you have the most of. On 604, it tells you that a unit is about equivalent to 1 centimeter. So if we give that unit, if we give that a definition and we say that 1 centimeter, then it's 1 centimeter, and of course 1 centimeter. So if we had 4 of those and we lined them up, each one being 1 centimeter, altogether you would have 4 centimeters. And you notice I put cm next to it. That's the abbreviation for centimeter. You want to get used to seeing that and using it. So if you consider your penny to be equivalent to 1 centimeter, then use that as a reference. A penny, though, however, actually, there is no coin that's equivalent to a centimeter. If you used a nickel is approximately 2 centimeters. If you have a ruler at home, just use the ruler and measure it. And you know how to use the ruler? On the ruler, you see it starts with 1, 2, 3, and goes on. Well, this line right here on this end of it, that's the starting point. That's the line you line up with the left side of what you're measuring, and then you go down the scale and you look at what number it's close to. And that tells you what its length is. So you're going to do some measuring on 604, 605. Uh-oh, there's a word problem on 606. Let's do the word problem, because I know what word problems do to people. Problem number 9 on 606. It says, solve, write, or draw. So you get to choose. You can either write down the answer or you can draw a picture of it. Mrs. Duncan measured the length of a crayon and a pencil. The pencil is double the length of the crayon, and the sum of their length is 24 centimeters. What's their length? It almost sounds like a riddle, doesn't it? Let's take it apart. Mrs. Duncan measured the lengths of a crayon and a pencil. So we know we've got a crayon and we got a pencil. Now, the pencil is double the length. So we've got this length here of the crayon, and we're going to double it, so that means we're going to come out here, and our pencil is going to be twice as long. Are you following me so far? The pencil is twice as long as the crayon. The sum of their lengths is 24 centimeters. Now, what does that mean? The sum of their lengths. It means that the length of the crayon and the length of the pencil all together equals 24 inches. So now we got to figure out what their lengths are. Remember, sum. Sum is an addition problem. You're adding the length of the crayon and the length of the pencil, and all together that's going to equal 24 inches. So, think about this now. You've got 1, 2, 3. When you think about it, the crayon is one length, half of the pencil, which is equal to the crayon, is another length, and then the other half of the pencil, which is equal to the length of the crayon, is yet still another length. So, since you have 1, 2, 3 lengths that are equivalent to the crayon, take your 24 and just divide it by 3. And if you divide that by 3, your answer is going to be 8. 8 goes into 24 3 times. Or 3 times 8 equals 24 in case you want to invert and check. That's how you check your answer. You do the opposite. So, if I was to say that the crayon is 8 inches, because that's the answer we got in that division problem. So if the crayon is 8 inches and the pencil is twice as long as the crayon, so you've got 8 times 2 equals 16, right? So that means that the pencil is 16 inches. Now, let's see if that's correct. We know that according to the problem, that the pencil is twice as long as the crayon. So is 16 twice as long as 8? Well, yes, it is. We figured it out. We solved the riddle. Now, I'm sure that you'll probably practice that problem a couple of times before you get it. Look at number 10, another word problem. Here, Marita is using unit cubes to measure the length of a straw. Circle the number in the box that makes the sentence true. And you see a picture of a straw on page 606, problem 10. And then you see a number block. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's about 7 of those blocks long. And remember we said the block is equal to 1 centimeter. So if there are 7 blocks, then that straw would measure 7 centimeters. On page 607, problem number 4. That's one that you're going to look at and go, ugh. It says, write or draw to explain again. Susan has a pencil that's 3 centimeters shorter than the string. How long is the pencil? So it shows you a picture of the string, and it says that she has a pencil that is 3 centimeters shorter than the string. So you measure your string, and let's use our blocks. And according to my blocks in my drawing here, it's 6 blocks long or 6 centimeters. Now, if her pencil is 3 centimeters shorter, you want to get rid of 3 centimeters, and her pencil is only that long because it's 3 centimeters less. That was really kind of pretty easy. I bet you all got that one anyhow. We're just going to run through this. Now that was in the homework on 607 and 608. 609, and this is something that they do a lot of in this math curriculum, is they get your mind thinking about estimating things. Every time I do estimates, I tell everybody, really, you estimate all the time. All the time your brain is estimating things. You just don't realize it. If we look at, let's go on page 610. The pencil is about 10 centimeters long, which is the most reasonable estimate for the length of the ribbon. So it shows you a pencil. So you've got a pencil, and then you've got a ribbon. And you can see that the ribbon is longer than the pencil. And we know that the pencil is 10 centimeters. And it's asking you, roughly, how long do you think the ribbon is? Well, I'm going to guess that the ribbon is just this much more in length than the pencil. So it's going to be not too far from 10. And one of your answers there is 13. That would be my guess. The first answer, 7, that's no good because the ribbon's longer, not shorter. So 7 would be wrong. And 20 centimeters, if it was 20 centimeters, that ribbon would have to be twice as long. 10 and 10. So we know it's not 20, that's way too big. And that's what estimating is all about. It's being able to look at something and come up with kind of your best guess on how it relates to the other object. So on 611, you got more examples of that. And I'm looking on page 612 here. And problem number 7, it requires that you use your imagination. You dig into your memory about things that are everyday objects. You know what they look like. And it's going to ask you to kind of guess what measurement do you think they actually are. And it asks you about how long is a crayon? 5 centimeters, 10 centimeters, or 20 centimeters. So here's 5 centimeters. Here's 10 centimeters. And then here's 20 centimeters. That would be one mighty long crayon. 5 centimeters. It'd be a little stubby, a little short. 10 centimeters, that'd be a pretty good guess. Somewhere between 5 and 10 centimeters, so I would guess 10 centimeters. And then it asks you about how long is a pencil. Is a pencil 20 centimeters? Well, look at that. If a pencil isn't just about 20 centimeters. Use your rulers. It'll help you guess. But, just use your imagination too. Couple of word problems. Number 8 on 612. You got to put on the thinking caps here. Mr. Lot has 250 more centimeters. So Mr. Lot has 250 more centimeters. I use the little greater than symbol to tell myself that a number is going to increase here. Mrs. Sanchez, so he has 250 more centimeters of tape than Mrs. Sanchez. Mr. Lot has 775 centimeters. So that's what he's got altogether, 775 centimeters. And he's saying that he has 250 more centimeters than Miss Sanchez. So now you want to figure out how many Miss Sanchez has. So we're going to take that 250 centimeters. We know that this number is bigger by 250 centimeters because he says he has 250 more than Miss Sanchez. So that's telling you you need to subtract that 250 centimeters, and that's 5, 2, don't forget the label. That means Miss Sanchez has 525 centimeters. Now you can check that by doing the reverse operation. This is subtraction, so you would use addition. So if I took the 525 and I added that 250 back onto it, I would have 775, which is correct because that's what Mr. Lot had to begin with. Word problems can be tricky, but just sort out the numbers. And then the last sentence of a word problem is typically where it tells you what it wants you to do. And it'll give you hints as to whether you're going to add, subtract, multiply, or divide. So on 6, 13, and 14, you're going to continue to estimate. There's a little bit of spiral review there that takes you through some addition, subtraction, and even some money. You got a dime, a nickel, and 2 pennies. If you had a dime, a nickel, and 2 pennies, how much money do you have? A dime is 10, a nickel is 5, and 2 pennies are 1. So 10 plus 5 is 15, plus 1 is 16, plus 1 is 17. So you got 17 cents. Now, on lesson 9.3, this is where they really make you do it right. In lesson 9.3, they want you to use your ruler now. Now, if you look real close at the measurement, in between each number, you see a longer line and a bunch of littler lines. I'm going to draw that on the board for you so you know what it is. So, on a metric ruler, this is 1 centimeter. So this would be 0, this would be 1. That's the distance, 1 centimeter. In the middle, you've got a line. And then you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Why? Because there are 10 divisions inside each centimeter. So, now that we know that, let me correct this here just to make sure you can understand. So from here to here is increments of 1/5 of a centimeter. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Altogether, there are 10. In the middle would be 1/2 centimeter. You got that? Now, these little lines in there, those are millimeters. But we're not going to get too involved in that. I think in all the measurements that you're going to have to do in 9.3, it will tell you to measure it to the nearest centimeter, or it will ask you to measure it at about what centimeter. So you're really going to be sticking with centimeters. Now, if it hits that half, that big line in the middle, then you can go ahead and say 1/2 centimeter or 1 1/2. If you're really sharp with your measuring skills, you'll be able to recognize when the object you're measuring is 1/2 centimeter on top of a whole centimeter. So on 621 and 622, that's your homework. No, I take that back. That's the problem. So, oh, gee whiz. 624 is a mid-chapter checkpoint already. So what we'll do next week, you got all weekend to do 9.1, 9.2, 9.3. Take a look at it, get your rulers out, measure some of these things, get comfortable with measuring things so that if somebody asks you to measure something, you'll know how to do it. And you'll be able to tell them exactly what the measurement is. Pretty cool, huh? And then next week, we'll do the mid-chapter checkpoint. And then we'll move into a little more problem solving. What is problem solving? Well, you got a problem. And you got to solve it. And that could be solving through one of the 4 operations: addition, subtraction, multiplication, or division. Now, you're in the 2nd grade, so I'm not guessing you're doing a whole lot of multiplication or division yet, so it's probably going to be addition and subtraction problems. But we'll be subtracting one measurement from another measurement. You got 10 centimeters, you subtract 5 centimeters, and your answer is 5 centimeters. If you have 5 centimeters and you add 3 centimeters to it, then your answer would be 8 centimeters. Easy peasy. You guys got it. That's it for today. Have a nice weekend. It's going to be a nice weather outside, so try to get a little fresh air, but remember our social distancing. Be safe. Take care of yourself. Stay out of trouble. And be kind to everybody. We'll see you next week.